Okay, today we're going to talk about parallel lines cut by a transversal. Please make sure that you take out a piece of loose leaf paper if you chose not to print out the notes. So if we look at this picture, it says lines A and B are parallel. The symbol for parallel is two slanted lines that look like this. Line C is a transversal. Notice that line C hits both line A and line B. So there's some vocabulary that you need to know about parallel lines cut by a transversal. The first is vertical angles. If you remember from the other day, we said vertical angles are any angles that are formed when you have an X. So this and this would be vertical, or if we marked this side here, would be vertical to this side here. So looking at the picture, there are several vertical angles. We have angle 1 is vertical to angle 3, so they are congruent, and vertical angles are congruent. We have angle 2 vertical to angle 4, so they're congruent. Angle 5 is congruent to angle 7 because they're vertical, and angle 6 is congruent to angle 8 because they are vertical. The second vocabulary word that you need to know is supplementary angles. We said the other day supplementary angles form a straight line. And they add to 180 degrees. So if we look at the picture, we can say angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. If we go in a circle, angle 2 plus angle 3 equal 180 degrees. Angle 3 plus angle 4, equal 180 degrees. And angle 4 plus angle 1 equal 180 degrees. If we look at the second grouping of angles at the bottom part of the picture, we can say angle 5 plus angle 6 equal 180. Angle 6 plus angle 7 equal 180. Angle 7 plus angle 8 equal 180. And angle 8 plus angle 5 equal 180 degrees. So anytime you have those two angles, any of that grouping, they are going to add to 180 degrees. The next vocabulary word that we have is corresponding. Corresponding means same position, other parallel line. And corresponding angles are congruent. So if we look, angle 1 is congruent to, if we look at the other section of angles, it's angle 5. Both of them are in the top left position where the transversal hits the parallel line. We can say that angle 2 corresponds and is congruent to angle 6. They are both in the top right position. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. They are both in the bottom right position. And angle 8 corresponds to angle 4, or you could write it the other way, because they are both in the bottom left position. So corresponding angles are in the same position on the other parallel line, and they are congruent. A couple more vocabulary words for parallel lines. First, we have alternate interior. Interior means inside the parallel lines. Alternate means opposite. And I will tell you that your alternate interior lines, angles, are congruent. So if we look at the inside of the parallel lines, our choices are 4, 3, 5, and 6. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 6 because they're inside the parallel lines and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. We can also say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 5 because they are on opposite sides of the transversal inside the parallel lines. Now similar, alternate exterior means outside. Think exterior house paint. It's for the outside of your house. So exterior means outside the parallel lines, and they too are congruent. So if I look outside the parallel lines, angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. Again, notice they are on opposite sides of the transversal and outside the parallel lines. We also have interior on the same side of the transversal. That means inside the parallel lines, and obviously same side of the transversal means they're on the same side of line C. And these are supplementary, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So for this vocabulary, we can say angle 4 plus angle 5 equals 180, and angle 3 plus angle 6 equals 180 degrees. Now, if we look, very simple, it says find all the angles equivalent to angle A and angle B. So angle A, it looks like it's more than 90. This is also going to be angle A because it's vertical. I should have made that green. Sorry. That's also angle A. I can say this is angle A because that corresponds to the angle up at the top. And this is angle A because these two are vertical. Now, if I look, this is angle B because it's vertical to the angle B given. This is angle B because these two are alternate interior. And this is angle B because these two are vertical. Every time you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, all of your A angles that are listed here are going to be the same measurement. And all of your B angles are going to be the same measurement. Now, if we look at this, using what we just talked about, angle A and angle B, it says find the rest of the angles in the picture. Well, if this is 72 here, I know that's 72 because they're vertical. I can say this is 72 because it's alternate interior to this one. I can say this is 72 because these are vertical. Now, if I look, these two make a straight line. So this has to be 108 because 180 minus 72 is 108. That means this is 108 because they're vertical. That means this is 108 because this is alternate interior to that, or this plus this has to add up to 180. They're interior on the same side. And this is 108. Notice all of the angles in the picture are one of two angles. That's the way it always has to be. Now it says solve for x, and then find the two angles. So if we look at this picture, I have one of two choices. These angles are either equal to each other or they add up to 180. If I go back to my vocabulary and I look at these two angles here, they are on the interior, same side of the transversal. That means that they are equal to 180 degrees. I have to add them. So we can say 6x plus 9 plus 3x plus 18 equals 180 degrees. If I combine like terms, I get 9x plus 27 equals 180. If I subtract 27 from each side, I get 9x equals 153. If I divide both sides by 9, I get that x equals 17. Now, if I look at the question, it now says to find both of the angles. So for the first one down here, 6 times 17 plus 9, if I type it into the calculator, I'm going to get 111 degrees. For the top angle, or this angle here, 3 times 17 plus 18 is going to give me 69. 3 times 17 plus 18. That gives me 69. So now if I wanted to fill in the rest of the picture, since this one here is 111, that means this one's 111, this one up here is 111, this one is 111. Since this 69 really goes down here, this one is 69, this one is 69, and this one is 69. One more practice problem. If I look at these two angles, it says solve for x, find the two angles. If I look at them, this angle here is in the bottom right. This is in the bottom right. So they are called corresponding because they're in the same position on a different parallel line. That means they're equal. So 2x plus 9 equals 4x minus 31. If I subtract 2x from both sides, I get 9 equals 2x minus 31. If I add 31 to both sides, I get 40 equals 2x. If I divide by 2, I get x is 20. If I plug that in here, 2 times 20 is 40 plus 9. That tells me this angle is 49. If I plug the 20 in here, 4 times 20 is 80 minus 31. That also gives me 49. Now, going based on what I know about parallel lines cut by a transversal, I can tell you this is 49 because these are vertical here. This is 49. And then if I look at these two, they have to add up to 180, so that leaves 131 for that angle, which means this angle is 131, this angle is 131, and this angle is 131. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you write them down and either email me or ask me next time you see me.